Visual aids can make or break a presentation. While public speaking involves visual and auditory components, such as the speaker's presence and voice, visual aids can be used to enhance the speech by providing the audience with information that cannot be effectively conveyed through explanations alone. When considering visual aids, you want to remember that the visual aid should enhance the speech. In this module, we will be exploring ways to effectively present information in a visual way. Keep in mind that there are other types of presentational aids that might be needed in your presentation, such as an audio or tactile aid. The key to visual aids is to keep them simple. The audience should be able to quickly grasp the point in a few seconds. There are many strategies you might use to visually engage the audience. Keep in mind these 4 characteristics. The visual aid should actually be an aid to the presentation. They should visually engage the audience in a concise way to help with audience comprehension and retention. Unfortunately, many visual aids you have seen are relatively ineffective. They frequently use full sentences and lots of text. They appear to be mini chapters that require a bit of reading. There are different purposes of visual aids. For example, class lectures, which is what you probably have seen most of the time, are designed to have a lot more text to aid the learners. However, during a speech, you want the audience to follow the speech, not read your visual aid. There are many options that are available when considering visual aid design. You want to consider your audience and make sure the visual aids are visible, varied, and appropriate for the occasion. For example, handing out a visual aid might work if you have 1 or 2 audience members, but would be very distracting for most audiences. Your visual aid should be focused on a single idea. If you have multiple ideas that need visual reinforcement, separate those ideas into distinct visual aids. You want to be simple and clear. If a word is not needed, leave it out. Use fragments or key words. Avoid incorporating sentences unless they are essential. Remember to check to make sure your visual aid is neat and professional. Most speakers will use a computer-generated visual aid. That works well for many speeches. If you're using a medium such as a poster, make sure it is worthy of being seen. Bent corners, messy writing, etc. will all detract from the speech and your credibility. It might also cause the audience to lose focus on what you want them to see with your visual aid. Remember to provide proper credit for information and visual elements. Simple credit to the person or organization is all that is needed. Many presenters make the mistake of including the entire web address. This isn't really helpful, and it creates additional visual clutter. Keep the credit simple. As a presenter, you have many different design choices. One involves the type of aid you plan to use. Carefully consider the context and topic. When possible, have a backup or be prepared to present without the visual aid. Presentational aids might include your personal appearance, objects, props, an actual demonstration, handouts, posters, flip charts, an audio or video recording, or slideware. Whatever choice you make, be sure it is appropriate for the presentation and comfortable for you. As an example, some presenters feel less comfortable with slideware. An option is to create the slideware and then print and enlarge the slides on paper. Of course, it is much easier and cost-effective to become more familiar with the slideware. However, you want to do this prior to your actual presentation. Be prepared. As you explore this chapter, be open to trying different types of presentation aids. The text includes tips, strengths, and pitfalls for each. You want to carefully review this information as you construct visual aids for presentations. Keep in mind, copying what other individuals do for visual aids may not necessarily be an effective design. There are several design principles that will help you engage your audience. Most slideware provides you with an opportunity to explore different options. Personally, I find it helpful to save different versions of my visual aid and then compare which options are more visually engaging. You will have different slide layout options. Some allow you to use columns or embedded images. Carefully consider backgrounds and effects. You want to make sure these augment the presentation. Remember, visual aids should aid your presentation. Some of these elements can be distracting, such as effects that have each letter appear one at a time. While it might look artistic, that effect might serve to distract your audience, and they might lose focus on the presentation. Colors and fonts can be used to engage the audience. Remember to use complementary colors with good contrast and simple fonts. These choices should help with readability. You will need to consider when to use text and when to use images. For both, make sure they enhance your presentation. It keeps going back to that principle. Text that is overly verbose or too small will likely frustrate your audience and detract from your purpose. Use simple and consistent font. Notice how the font for the visual aid elements on this page are very small. If presenters wanted to convey this information, separating each graph or chart into a separate visual aid would help with visibility and simplicity. Consider using graphs and charts instead of using a lot of numbers in your presentation. A graph or chart can quickly convey information without all the unnecessary detail of the specific figures. I'm sure you've heard the expression that a picture is worth 1,000 words. While this is not true for every picture, you want to use pictures that will help you convey information in an effective way. Make sure your design choices fit the context. Lecture slides are designed with more text to aid in note-taking and comprehension. That's not the goal of your presentation slides. All that extra text also helps if learners have access to these slides prior to or after class. A poster session might use a trifold display and share a single idea for each section of that display. Small group presentations might be augmented with objects or other tactile presentation aids. That smaller group allows for that use of a visual aid. Class presentation, like the speeches you will present in this class, should be designed around a single idea using limited text, engaging images, all designed to convey information and include prominent titles to orient the audience. While many presenters make mistakes when using visual aids, this module offers you an opportunity to apply key design principles to create visual aids that will help you feel more confident as you engage your audience. For additional information about design, refer to the visual aid checklist in this module. You'll be using this checklist to create and evaluate visual aids.